You know, when we think of societal collapse, it's easy to picture something super dramatic, almost like a movie. The artist Thomas Cole, he captured this perfectly in his famous series, The Course of Empire. It shows a civilization rising to these incredible, almost impossible heights, and then just descending into chaos and ruin. It's this powerful, kind of haunting cycle.
And here's the thing, this is not some rare event. From the biggest empires to the smallest kingdoms, history shows us again and again that collapse, well, it seems to be the rule, not the exception. So the real question isn't if a society will face this, it's when and why.
So what is it? Is it one single catastrophic event, a perfect storm of disasters all hitting at once? Or is there some kind of hidden fragility just baked into the DNA of complex societies? Let's try and unravel this.
Okay, first things first. Before we can figure out what causes a civilization to end, we need to agree on what collapse actually is, because, it's not always as simple as a city just turning to dust.
So this is the go-to definition from anthropologist Joseph Tainter. And the key words you really got to focus on here are rapid and socio-political complexity. Collapse isn't some slow, gradual decline. It's a fast unraveling of the very things that hold a society together.
And this slide points out a really crucial distinction. Collapse doesn't always mean total annihilation, right? On one side, you've got the Western Roman Empire, where the whole political system just disintegrated. Poof! But then you look at the ancient Maya. Their great cities were abandoned, sure, and their old system of kingship ended, but the Maya people and their culture, they didn't disappear. They just reorganized into a new kind of society.
So how long do civilizations usually last? Well, social scientist Luke Kemp dug into this, analyzed dozens of them, and he found the average lifespan is about 340 years. Think about that for a second. That number really puts the rise and fall of these great powers into perspective. It makes it feel less like ancient history and more like a predictable, recurring cycle driven by forces we're about to explore.
So if collapse is this common fate, are there common causes? History definitely suggests yes. In fact, we can pretty much group them into four major categories. You can think of them as the four horsemen of collapse.
First up, the environment. A sudden, severe shift in the climate can just pull the rug out from under any society. We've seen megadroughts weaken early empires. And get this, a massive volcanic eruption in Alaska, of all places, in 43 BC caused crop failures all the way over in Egypt, weakening it just enough for a rising Rome to swoop in and take over. The second horseman is conflict and invasion. This is the classic story, right? A society is weakened or just completely destroyed by outsiders. Think of the so-called barbarian tribes at the gates of Rome, or the absolutely devastating Mongol conquests that completely reshaped Asia and Europe.
But these things, they rarely happen in a vacuum, and the Late Bronze Age collapse is a perfect, terrifying example. If you look at this timeline, you can see how a whole network of connected civilizations in the Mediterranean, the Hittites, the Mycenaeans, they all unraveled in a really short time. Around 1210 BC, you see signs of famine, Egypt sending grain to the starving Hittites. Just a decade later, these mysterious sea people start attacking, and by 1150 BC, major cities are destroyed and entire empires are gone. It was a true domino effect, a perfect storm that brought down an entire world system.
Our third horseman is pandemic disease. When a deadly new illness hits a population with absolutely no immunity, the results can be apocalyptic. The Antonine Plague, for example, just hollowed out the Roman army and its economy. Later on, the plague of Justinian shattered the Byzantine Empire's strength. And maybe most devastating of all, European diseases wiped out up to 90% of the population in the Americas, which made conquest tragically easy.
And finally, our fourth horseman, sometimes the call is coming from inside the house. Internal decay can be just as deadly as an invading army. In Rome, you had all these economic problems, devalued currency, a crazy reliance on slave labor that created huge instability. Then you add in things like massive inequality and way too many elites fighting over a shrinking pie, and you get a society that basically rots from the inside out.
So we have our four horsemen: environment, conflict, disease, and internal decay. But those are really just the symptoms. What's the underlying disease? Why are these complex societies, which seem so powerful, actually so fragile?
Well, one theory comes down to something pretty simple: energy. Think about it like your personal budget. To do anything, you need an energy surplus. A society's budget is what we call energy return on investment, or EROI.
Basically, how much energy you get out for every unit you put in. For Rome, relying on exhausted farmland was like having a shrinking paycheck. For us, the easy-to-get oil is mostly gone, and the alternatives, well, they have a much lower EROI.
And this brings us right back to Joseph Tainter's big idea. He argues that societies add complexity, more bureaucracy, bigger armies, more specialists to solve problems. But eventually, you hit a point of what he calls declining marginal returns. That's when each new layer of complexity you add costs you more than the benefit it actually provides.
So Tainter gives us 3 pretty simple models for how this fragility leads to failure. First, there's the dinosaur, where the elites are just too big and slow, or just unwilling to adapt to a new crisis. Then there's the runaway train. Think of the Roman Empire, a society that needs constant, unsustainable expansion just to survive. And finally, you've got the House of Cards, where a society is so complex and interconnected that pulling out just one card can make the whole thing tumble down.
Now, the historian Arnold Toynbee had a bit of a different take. He said civilizations rise because a creative minority, a group of innovators, solves the big challenges of their day. But over time, that group turns into a dominant minority. They become more interested in just holding on to power than in solving new problems. They get rigid, stuck in their old ways, and then when a new crisis hits, they just can't handle it.
This is all really fascinating history, but so what? What's the takeaway? Why does studying ancient collapses matter to us right here, right now?
This quote from Tainter really reframes the whole conversation. A civilization isn't just a collection of people or buildings, it's a massive, complex machine that's built to solve problems. How do we get food? How do we organize ourselves? How do we defend against threats?
And that leaves us with this final, crucial question. If civilizations rise by solving problems, and they fall when their old solutions stop working and they can't find new ones, then looking at these patterns from the past forces us to ask, are our own solutions sustainable? It's a big question and one worth thinking about.